Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Brian and Dylan Take on the World. This one's a little special because we have a video to go along with it on the YouTube channel, and of course it's always available in audio only on iTunes. So thank you so much for listening, and without further ado, here is Brian and Dylan Take on the World.
Hey everyone, welcome back for another episode of Brian and Dylan Take on the World. I am here live and in person with my good friend Brian.
What's up?
It's nice. I haven't been hanging out with Brian a whole lot. I've seen him once, but him and Jenny have welcomed me into their wonderful home, and Brian has been throwing around commands left and right. Tensions have been very high in here, but finally we're recording this podcast. I think Jenny has just left the building. I'm not 100% sure because this light is so bright I can't see around me.
Yeah, so we had to reorganize everything, and Jenny was a huge help in that, Shirley. I swear I wasn't bossing people around too much. Anyways, what are we talking about?
So today we are going to be doing our Avengers Infinity War preview. Mm-hmm. Brian and I are just trying to, fill the void as much as possible. So we will be doing 2 weeks of Avengers Infinity War, given that we have been doing nothing but talking about Avengers pretty much the entire time we've had this podcast.
It was kind of a weird time to start a news-based channel, because it was right on the horizon, Infinity War, how could anything else be about anything but Black Panther and Infinity War when they were right there when we started?
So we will be covering that in a little while, kind of giving our hopes and dreams, kind of our current state of affairs in the Marvel Universe. But first, I guess let's jump into our news, per usual. So
let's bring it up.
First thing on deck, we have Deadpool 2. The trailer came out this week. I'm nervous. I can tell I'm saying a lot. It's all right.
Hey, that's quite all right.
It's all right. When you're getting millions of views on YouTube, you can rest easy.
Well, it's good to get the jitters out now when we have not a ton of subscribers. So one day, if we ever get a ton, we'll be ready.
Yes, this is the unscripted version too. So you'll hear a lot of nonsense. So, Deadpool 2, the new trailer came out this week. Pretty awesome. We have...
Yeah, it was really good. It was hilarious, actually.
I'm very, very excited for this movie, even more now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say I'm more excited than Infinity War, because that's a lie, because I haven't been as excited for anything like I have been for Infinity War in a very long time. But Deadpool 2, we're doing our summer preview in about 2 weeks. I believe the week Deadpool comes out, we're going to be doing our summer preview. And I think Deadpool might be maybe my number one most anticipated movie.
Is this not including Infinity War, or even including
No, Infinity War is going to be the exact cutoff for spring, I guess. So really, basically,
that's fair. That's fair.
May 1st on, because we have a jam-packed May, June, July.
So it's fortunate that Marvel was we're actually going to be out in April now.
Yes.
Okay.
So
fortunate for Deadpool.
Very, very big 2 weeks now. That Disney owns Sony. Or owns Fox who owns Deadpool. Yeah. So this is a really, really big 2 weeks for Marvel in general. Obviously, it's a really 2 big weeks for Josh Brolin as well, because he is both playing Cable in Deadpool 2, as well as a little character in Infinity War.
Yeah, just a small, not very important. It'll be 2-second cameo.
I think he's playing Thanos.
Oh, that's right. He's playing the big bad that the whole series has been building up to for 10 years.
A lot going on in the simulcast right now. If you're watching on YouTube, you're getting all the action.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see me sweat a lot, but I'm sweating a lot right now.
I know it's weirdly warm. It got kind of warm, and we're big guys, so I
think your commands for getting this warm.
Yeah.
Little
it was anyway, so
back onto Deadpool 2. I'm this trailer, I'm even more sold. I'm very, very excited. It looks like a very, very fun movie. Mm-hmm. Cable looks like a badass. Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. Mm-hmm. You know what you're getting with Ryan Reynolds. Yeah. It's as perfect as a casting as you get nowadays. We have Domino. We have Peter, who is the guy who really just represents all of us.
The everyman. Yeah. It's funny that this is the only movie that Domino could potentially be in, because Domino's power is that she's lucky. Mm-hmm. That's her mutant power, is she has the power of luck. And they even touch on it a little bit in the trailer, but I was like, it's one of those mutants where it's how are they ever going to put this character in a movie? Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right, they're going to do it. And they'll probably do it well, because Deadpool 1's awesome, so I trust in this team.
Anything with Deadpool, I feel like they can get away with a lot, obviously. Having that R rating is very key, too. We also have Terry Crews. We also have Terry Crews as Bedlam, and he looks great as well. It's tough not to love Terry Crews. And we also have the fake bomb caller winner, T.J. Miller, also in this show.
It's kind of awkward nowadays.
It is. T.J. Miller is also in this movie, though. He's had a rough 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting how it's handled. Is he going to be front and center for promotional stuff? Mm-hmm. Probably not. He probably not. Was planned to be. They were probably going to send him out on talk shows and stuff, do the circuit for the movie, but I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
I'm not even sure. Is he still in prison?
No, he's a celebrity. He probably didn't
True.
even go
Yes.
to jail for more than 10 minutes.
Very true. I mean, if OJ didn't go to jail right away.
Right, he's fine. He's fine.
He isn't going to get you in it.
And who knows? We could be wrong. This could just all blow over once Deadpool comes out and he's really good in it.
Yes. I should also mention that Brian and I are recording on one single mic, so if I start mumbling like I normally do, I won't have my so-called, as I've been told in the reviews, the potato I record on in my mouth.
Oh, no.
So if I start mumbling, it's not intentional, so please don't yell at me. So, kind of to tie into our next story, the director of Deadpool 2 also is going to be now set to direct the video game The Division is getting its own movie. David Leitch is going to be directing, who is also directing Deadpool 2. So far, the only thing confirmed with Division is obviously now the director, David Leitch, but Jake Gyllenhaal and Jessica Chastain are both confirmed for the movie.
So those are two pretty good actors for a video game adaptation movie.
Jessica Chastain's been getting a lot of really big roles. I don't remember if she was nominated for best. No, she was nominated for this year for Best Actress for Molly's Game.
Right.
She is also apparently confirmed for the It sequel to be playing the older version of the girl now.
Oh, that's cool. All right, I like that.
Yeah, so she's all over the place, but I mean, I love them too as as actors. I really enjoy all the movies they're in. So
right.
I never played the Division game, surprisingly. I'm not sure why, because it was a game that was right up my alley.
Yeah, I love the Division.
It's a game I'm going to eventually play, but I'm looking forward to this because I heard a lot of good things about Division. Deadpool 2, it seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. David Leitch, it seems like he's a pretty solid director. The only movie I see that he's directed recently was Atomic Blonde, which was all right. It was not bad, so any movie that's not bad, you get a better shot to make a better movie, and obviously I think Deadpool 2 is going to be...
Deadpool 2, and then hopefully you can keep the momentum with the Division 2, because, one, it's a video game movie. Those generally don't do well. Rampage reviewed really middling, but it did decently at the box office. Yep. Obviously, because The Rock. If The Rock was in the Division, this would be a home run. $150 million opening weekend. Jake Gyllenhaal, an amazing actor. If you haven't seen Nightcrawler, go see Nightcrawler this second. Pause the podcast, watch Nightcrawler, come back. We're going to talk about Nightcrawler for 2 minutes. It'll be just like
super creepy in Nightcrawler. Very, very creepy.
Yeah, before that I was like, he's fine. He's an alright actor. But after Nightcrawler, I'm like, dude, this guy, any role he could be. I just really want a good version of The Vision. I'm tired of our video game movies being bad.
Yeah, it's. I don't fully understand it. I think that perhaps both critics, producers, maybe even directors also don't take video game properties as seriously as they should. Tomb Raider was a lot of fun. I liked it a lot. It was
so you did see that?
I did. I ended up going to see it.
I didn't end up seeing it.
So it was more of a grounded approach to a video game, which I liked a lot. It didn't, especially with Tomb Raider, it didn't rely a whole lot on the sex appeal. I mean, she's very attractive, but it relied more on the story, even though the story wasn't that great. But it tried to give a really good an origin story, which you need with because a lot of these people going to see these movies have not played these video games.
Yeah.
But even then, I think it has a 50% of Rotten Tomatoes or something like that. It's nothing.
It's not terrible, but not great.
No, not great at all. And it's the second highest rated video game movie, I believe. I believe somehow Rampage. I didn't even know Rampage was a video game, to be honest with you. Is
a really old video game.
Yeah. I didn't know that was based off a video game, and that's the highest rated reviewed video game movie up to this point. I think it has a 55. So that's really sad. I had really high hopes for Assassin's Creed when it came out.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I thought that was going to be good.
Michael Fassbender I like a lot. There was a really good cast in that. ended up not being a good movie.
Right.
And I think that's the case with a lot of video games movies. They're either really bad or they're they're either really bad or they're so-so.
Yeah. Do you actually have any video game movies that you like, kind of like guilty pleasure that you kind of do like? I have one that I fucking love, and
I know what your one is,
Yeah.
but no, I don't really think I've had a video game movie that I have thoroughly enjoyed that much.
Right. I love Resident Evil.
Evil, yeah.
It's so bad. Don't take me saying I love it as any endorsement to watch it. Don't watch it. There's a lot better movies out there. I don't know, man. Maybe it's because I saw it when I was a kid, and it was like one of the first like action zombie movies I ever saw, and I was like excited by that. But
one of the movies that I have that's going to come out that I have a high hope for is the Uncharted movie, which is starring Tom Holland as a young Nathan Drake.
Oh, starring Tom Holland.
So yeah.
How did I miss this?
I mean, he's all over the place as well. Yeah, it's originally this movie was set to come out like 3 years ago, starring Mark Wahlberg as Nathan Drake. I think it was not Al Pacino. Robert De Niro as Sully, and then Joe Pesci somewhere in there as the bad guy. Directed by who's the guy that directed Silver Linings Playbook? He also did.
David Ayer. Is that his
No,
name?
David O. Russell. Yes, it's David O. Russell.
Yeah.
I'm confident in that. If we're wrong,
David
whatever.
Ayer, that's Suicide Squad.
Did Silver Linings Playbook. He also did
American
Hustle.
I like that movie.
I liked both movies a lot. End up just like falling apart. I wasn't really that big on Mark Wahlberg being Nathan Drake anyway. So I guess they're going another origin.
No, that would have guaranteed it would be just a bad video game movie, I feel like.
Yeah, it's just Mark Wahlberg. I didn't like as Nathan Drake. I was really big on somebody like Chris Pratt being Nathan Drake. I like that a lot.
Maybe Bradley Cooper.
I like the whole thing about Chris Pratt being Nathan Drake and then Bradley Cooper being the brother.
Ooh.
Similar to
that'd be
Uncharted
so good.
4. I thought that was
so good.
That was perfect.
What about out of the box John Krasinski?
I do like that.
After you've seen,
I like that as well. He's playing. I mean, we're going way off in the Division, but this is my podcast.
This is video game movies.
This is our podcast. So
yeah, I think it's like tangentially related.
So John Krasinski's actually playing Jack Ryan in his own TV show on Amazon.
Oh, cool.
So he's locked up.
Yeah.
I've also heard rumblings out there of Tom Hanks as Sully. So
anything with Tom Hanks.
I think they saw him playing Sully Sullenberger in that movie. Yeah. About the Pelicans and him landing the plane.
Mm-hmm. He's just destined to be Sully forever.
This is going off the rails forever.
Hey man, this is bad. This is good radio. Video. Or
so the Division. I hope it doesn't suck.
Yeah, man. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of the game. So if you guys could, Hollywood, if you could just do this one time. If not, I guess I'll see the Uncharted.
I have really high hopes for this though with Deadpool, with David Leitch. We've put that down. That's his name. Directing this with Jake Gyllenhaal and Jessica Chastain. So hopefully this won't suck.
All right. So moving on to directors never directed a video game movie.
Sort of directed a movie about a video game, but did not direct a video game movie. So Steven Spielberg is set to have. Obviously, Ready Player One already came out. We're also going to have Jurassic World 2 come out, which he's producing. His total gross over his lifetime between producing and directing, mainly directing, but I guess he's produced a shitload of movies too, so it's obviously added in there. Yeah. He's going to gross over $25 billion. That's billion with a B. That's a lot of money.
That's pretty good.
If you think something like Star Wars, I think only made up to like $925 million. Yeah. Just in the U.S. That's that's basically 26 of those of the U.S. altogether thrown into that. So that's a lot of people.
A lot of dough.
That's a lot of money. Very impressive. I'm not shocked at all that he's the director to do this.
Right.
I'm a little surprised it's not higher, I guess I could say, because that's a lot of moolah. But if you look at all his properties that he's been involved with, and I guess a lot of it were in the 80s and 70s where movies weren't exactly making that much money, especially not what they're making nowadays with all the other platforms they're on. Things like Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, things that he directed and produced, I thought those would have made at least like $1 or $2 billion each. All together. Maybe they did. Maybe that's playing into this. But little small thing I wanted to throw in there because it's very, very impressive. And he's now set to direct a DC Universe movie, or at the very least, he's going to produce one about Blackhawk, which I don't know anything about at all.
I'm not super familiar.
No, I didn't even know he was a hero in the DC world until this movie was announced. But he's 120% going to be producing it, and then rumor has it that he's also going to be directing it. And Blackhawk is like a rogue, badass like pilot guy in World War II, which seems very, very up Spielberg's alley. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
Right.
So that's I just wanted to throw that in there really quickly because I thought it was a really fun stat. $25 billion. That's a shitload of cash.
And so saying here, Jurassic World did a cool 1.6 billion
No big deal.
last time out.
Yeah.
So it should get. I won't say it's going to get $1.5 billion again, but it should have another strong box office showing. So
I'm not a big Jurassic Park guy. I'll probably end up going to see it in the theaters just because it's that type of movie you just want to see in the theaters. So
yeah, and like the addition of Chris Pratt as like the lead is just so likable. Like he's just such like a charismatic, likable character. Is that I think that really helps people like being like, oh yeah, it's Star-Lord. I'll go. Yeah, I'll go see this movie.
Yeah, and like I've already seen Ready Player One twice. Yeah. So if somebody like me has seen it, yeah. So
it's good. It's really good.
I
listen to our podcast about it.
Yes, go back and listen to it. We were hacked by rogue terrorists trying to take down the podcast.
I think we said it was Ubisoft, right? So it gave us a little more time to play Far Cry.
Correct. So I will say now in the simulcast, I don't know whether to look into the camera or look at the mic like I normally do when I record. So
I look like a little bit around the camera.
Well, if I look up, I won't be able to see for the next 3 days.
Fair enough.
So we will be right back, and we are going to be previewing a little bit Avengers: Infinity War.
Back. Let's talk about some Avengers.
Alright guys, welcome back. We are going to be previewing a little Avengers Infinity War. As I said before the break, I don't know whether to look at the camera or look at the microphone. I don't want to just keep looking into the camera because, you know, in the showbiz, which I guess you could say we're not in.
Right. That's the thing.
They say don't look right at the camera, but I guess we're also directing our listeners. So, I mean, I guess I'll just keep staring at the camera.
Maybe look like right below it so you're not looking into the light.
So, our hope with this podcast is we want to do a little bit of a preview to catch people up on some whereabouts of some of the main Avengers, as well as talk about how we think things are going to go, how we want them to go, and then, you know, maybe talk a little who's going to die, when, where, how.
People are going to die, that's for sure.
So, first I want to do a little bit of a catch-up on our 4 main Avengers. We have Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and Hulk. We have Iron Man back in New York. He has now moved upstate to the new Avengers compound, which we saw in Civil War with Vision. That's where Vision and Scarlet Witch were kind of hiding out.
Yep.
We saw...
I think Falcon was there, but he's not there anymore, obviously. And then Spider-Man was invited to live there.
He was.
He said no thanks.
He was. So last time we saw Iron Man was in Spider-Man Homecoming, which Brian just mentioned. Obviously, Spider-Man saved Happy Hogan's plane full of Iron Man's artifacts going up to the compound. And then at the very, very end, we have Iron Man offering the Iron Suit to Spider-Man, which he respectfully declines because he wants to be a regular kid and keep being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And so...
Which I liked a lot.
I did.
They had that be the decision.
I'm glad that they didn't take like a 16-year-old Peter Parker and turn him into a man right away. Because one of my big things with Spider-Man is I'm hoping that this is dragged out to like a 5 type movie thing where we get to see him grow up and develop into the man version of Spider-Man, and Tom Holland's just going to keep getting older. I think he's 21 right now, so I'm very excited for that. But yeah, last time we saw Iron Man was Spider-Man Homecoming. I can't have a very itchy nose. I'm not picking at boogers. I swear to God, for people on the simulcast, I have a very itchy nose, and I don't know why it's itchy right now. And Not really a whole lot of development with Tony in Spider-Man: Homecoming. I mean, before we saw him with that, we saw him in Civil War.
Mm-hmm. He just played like disappointed dad.
Yeah,
Homecoming.
We see him getting his shit kicked in at the very, very end of Civil War.
Yeah,
getting tag teamed by Captain America and the then Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Not a fun way either, folks. This is very not fun for Tony.
We did get a very, very nice letter from Captain America at the very end of that, saying like, "Hey, you're still sorry I kicked your ass. You're still my boy, but I'm off to do my own thing." But we'll get into that when we do the Captain America. So
Tony has the shield, right?
He does.
Yeah. All right.
So Tony has the shield now because that belonged to his dad, and so Tony's definitely back in New York because we see him on the trailers, and he's back with that squad with Doctor Strange. We see him a little bit with Spider-Man, and then we see Hulk crash down there, which we will talk about soon.
Right.
So we don't really know a whole lot about Iron Man. Really what's going on between Civil War and now. We just know that...
We know he's back with Pepper.
Yep.
He wasn't with Pepper in Civil War, but is...
He's now engaged.
Yeah, he's now engaged.
Because Spider-Man didn't accept the Iron Suit, so they turned that down, and he's now engaged with Pepper, so...
Which is good. I like Tony and Pepper together.
Good for them.
A lot, so like... When they were together in Civil War, I was like, that's kind of sad. Like, this is a couple that helped start this whole universe. Like, they got to be together. So I'm glad they're back together.
Yep. So, Brian, you want to turn this into The Bachelor? We can. Let's move on to our next person. We have Thor. Everybody who didn't see Thor Ragnarok, I highly recommend you do go see it.
What are you thinking?
Very, very fun movie. Last time we saw Thor, Asgard was... turned into nothing. Vaporized, destroyed. Wasn't even there anymore. Yeah. So Thor, Loki, Hulk, and Valkyrie all go off in their little ship, trying to figure out, hey, what the hell do we do now? I think their plan was to go back to Earth, which I'm not entirely sure how they would have received Loki back at Earth, seeing how last time he was there, he tried to destroy Earth.
Yeah, that would have been interesting, because, Odin was like, hey, remember this place. And so that's where they're presumably going to settle, or that's where it was setting up. I don't know what's going to happen with Thanos.
However, yes, as Brian just mentioned, we see in the mid-credit scene that there is a big-ass ominous ship that intercepts them as they're flying. Based on the trailers we see with Thor flying through space, interacting and meeting up with the Guardians, have to assume that ship gets blown to shit.
Yeah.
Have to assume.
Considering how big Thanos' ship was compared to a kind of like cruise ship looking...
Yep. It's basically a TIE fighter and like a Star Destroyer next to each other.
It's a good...
I can't imagine that ended well for them. Obviously, we know that Thor ends up with the Guardians. So that's kind of like Thor's little section of what's going to be happening in Infinity War. Is Thor will be with the Guardians. We see that he is also... Last time we saw Thor, he lost an eye. Lost his hammer. So like, not a good movie for Thor. Kind of
scary that he lost his eye.
A little late to mention, but we're also going to be spoiling every movie that we're talking about right now.
In the intro thing, I'll mention it. I'll be like, "Hey guys, just so you know, we're spoiling the shit out of every."
These are really the 3 movies you should have seen, though. So Thor is now with the Guardians in the trailers. Obviously, last time we saw Thor was in Thor Ragnarok. We did not see him in any other movies since.
Yeah, so he's going to get presumably punched the fuck into space by Thanos.
Yes.
At the beginning. And someone is going to die in the first 5 minutes, they said.
Of this movie?
Of this movie. That's what the director said.
Valkyrie?
I think it's going to be Loki, personally.
So we'll save it for what we think is going to happen. So our next hero is Captain America. My favorite Avenger. We have Captain America, who is now Rogue from the Avengers. Captain America is now off on his own.
It's Captain Worldwide right now.
We don't really know much about what happened after he broke Falcon, Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Ant-Man out of the super prison in Civil War. Yeah. But we do know that he brought Bucky to Wakanda. And then, obviously, we see Bucky getting frozen at the very, very end of Civil War. Yeah. And then, again, we see Bucky come back in the after-credits scene of Black Panther. And
presumably they're going to rebuild him an arm, right?
Yeah, so we do see in the trailer that he has a vibranium arm. Well, what I have to assume is vibranium, seeing as Wakanda has like an endless amount of it.
But it would be cool, too. Like, Sherry's going to, like, trick out that arm. Probably put, like, a gun on it and stuff.
I'm very, very excited to see her again as well. I guess we're not really talking about
I know, such a
Black Panther.
great character.
I'll get into her a little bit once we get into what we think will happen, because she has what I assume might end up being a very, very big role with the Avengers after Infinity War comes out. So we have Captain America out there. We don't really know much about what Captain America has done in between Civil War and now. There hasn't really been a whole lot of references to him. Last movie that came out was Black Panther, which came out basically like a week after, timeline-wise, Civil War happened. So I'm very excited to see Steve Rogers again. Has the nice beard, the nice flow back.
He's looking good.
Looks great. Yeah. I hope that's not his final look we see in this
series. Well, he's holding Thanos back in the trailer, which seems not possible. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe he has the Soul Stone. Maybe that's where he's been searching for it. That's honestly, for me, the only way I'm going to accept him being able to block Thanos' punch is if he has an Infinity Stone. Maybe if he has a shield. Maybe. And it's just not, we just can't see it from that angle. But
well, we see Black Panther say in the trailers, and get that man a shield. That is a terrible impression.
It wasn't horrible.
There was going to be a shitload of people that are going to be upset about
that. I immediately disliked the video. So... Oh, boy. Yeah, and it looks like he has, like, 2 shields now, and presumably...
they're like almost like gauntlets, I guess you could say. So... He has some vibranium gauntlets. He looks pretty cool. It's cool. Like, everyone's getting some new gear in this movie.
Yeah, we got to bring it when Thanos comes.
And then our
new uniforms.
Our final in the big four, we have Hulk, kind of in the same boat as Thor. We have to assume that he gets blown to shit. Also,
I don't think Hulk can die though, right? So
wait a minute, but didn't at the end of Ragnarok, wasn't he not in that ship? Didn't he fall out while they were in like the thing? When they're in like the time gate.
I could have sworn because remember he like jumps back to start fighting that demon.
I really should have saw Ragnarok more than once. So anyway, with Hulk, don't even bother looking it up, man. With Hulk, we do see him crashing down in New York with Doctor Strange.
He's definitely getting punched into space.
120%. I don't know how he winds up back at Earth. Maybe if they're actually relatively close to Earth, seeing how Thanos is going to make an appearance on Earth at some point in this movie. Yeah. That's really all about Hulk. That's all you know. There was really not a whole lot of gap between Avengers, Age of Ultron, and now with Hulk, other than he was just like a gladiator for a little while, and then
interesting turn for him. But great, because Hulk has only been in the Avengers movies, other than the Edward Norton Hulk movie, and I really I like Hulk as a character. I like Bruce Banner as a character. So if we can't get his own movie, because I know there's weird rights things with Universal owning the rights to independent Hulk movies. I'm really happy that we got Hulk in another Avenger movie that wasn't just the Avengers.
So those are the whereabouts of our 4 right now. So kind of jump back into something you were talking about with Captain America. My long-standing theory is I do think this will be Captain America's last movie alive. Apparently, Chris Evans is contracted for one more movie after this movie, but we do know Infinity War is basically a 2-part movie. I think it's just going by a different name for the second part.
Apparently the title is so spoiler-y for this movie that they aren't releasing it until a few months after this movie's been out.
Captain's funeral.
Captain's
funeral.
R.I.P. Captain America.
So my big theory is that he is going to be the big one to die in this. I mean, you have to have somebody of the big 4 we just named die. The logical 2 are him and Iron Man. Because there has to be some sort of consequence to these fights. The biggest losses we've had in previous movies have been the guy
Rhodey's legs.
We've had
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver. That's really been the 2 losses of the Avengers movies. There has to be some sort of consequence to everything that's going on. I think it's going to be either Iron Man or Captain America. My gut tells me Captain America, which kills because he's my favorite character in all this. He's had the best trio of movies, in my opinion, as well. I think that's.
That's not even in debate, dude. Those Captain America movies are straight fire.
So you also just mentioned earlier that apparently someone dies in the first 5 minutes.
That's what the directors have said. They said first 5 minutes someone's dying. Thanos has a grand entrance, and also to bring your tissues in general for the movie.
So I have to assume. So we do see Loki giving something to Thanos. I think it was the.
It's the Tesseract.
It's the Tesseract giving the Tesseract to Thanos.
The Space Stone, if you will.
The Space Stone, yes, of course. So that's obviously where he's going to be getting one of his stones. Maybe that's the end of Loki. I don't see any.
Here's what I'm thinking. So Loki, he's a good guy at this point. He's going. This is his full reformation into being villain, really bad villain, kind of okay villain. Now he's going to be a good guy.
Yep.
Thanos is going to come. He's going to punch the Hulk into space. He's going to punch Thor into space. Loki's going to bargain. I have this Infinity Stone. I'll give it to you. Let the Asgardians left live, because we're the only Asgardians left in our whole race of people. Mm-hmm. And Thanos will probably do a move I'll do that, but you failed me when I sent you into New York for the Avengers, so I'm going to kill you for that. And he's going to kill Loki. That's my prediction for that first 5-minute death.
So I guess that's true. Big spoilers, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
In terms of consequences, somebody has to die. Somebody big has to die. But there's also going to be, I feel, a few little people are going to have to die. Because I don't know. This is the end of Marvel's Phase 3, I believe.
4.
Phase 4, whatever. Either way, I don't know at post Infinity War how the Avengers are going to carry on. Mm-hmm. You're going to have, I think you'll have the Guardians, you'll have Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. In terms of the big four, I don't think there's going to be another Captain America movie. There's not going to be another Iron Man movie. Mm-hmm. I don't believe there's going to be another Thor movie.
Right.
So maybe we could get a Hulk movie, but one of the other big guesses of mine, I mean, I guess at this point we're guessing almost everybody that's alive.
Yeah.
But
there's going to be a new Avengers.
I wouldn't be totally shocked if we get Hulk sacrificed by the end of this movie.
Okay.
Which is a big loss for the Avengers.
Both stature and...
Yes. Yeah. But like I said, I guess we've also kind of have named every single person.
I will say, I'll stake my claim. Hawkeye will not die in this movie. Because he's not been in one trailer.
I guess we haven't seen Hawkeye at all.
Yeah, or Ant-Man. Ant-Man will also not die.
We also know Ant-Man will not die, which is, we brought this up in one of our past podcasts. I'm not entirely sure how that whole thing's going to work out, that we are going to have Avengers now, and then we're immediately going to have Ant-Man
set before.
2 months after.
Yeah.
So it's either going to be set, as you said, before or after. So if it's set after, is there just a time period of calm? Thanos is ruling the world, but Ant-Man and Wasp have their own thing going on.
I think it would be kind of cool if this is set. Ant-Man's set right before Infinity War. Mm. All that stuff happens. They go into the quantum zone.
Yep.
They do a bunch of shit there. They end the quantum zone. They leave it, and that they see just the world ravaged by Thanos.
Yep.
And then it's wait, what? And then something happens.
I gotcha.
We lead into the second part of Infinity War.
I gotcha.
A little bit after.
Yep.
Next year, right?
Yeah. I believe it's next summer. I could be wrong, but I believe it's next summer.
So we'll see. I think this is actually the slowest year for Marvel movies, right? No, because there's Captain Marvel, which takes place.
I think Captain Marvel's
in
next.
The 90s.
I think Captain Marvel is either this fall or it's next fall. Mm. It's one of the two. I could be wrong about.
They're filming it now.
Filming it right now. We've seen Captain Marvel in the green Captain Marvel suit, which I thought looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm
excited for Captain Marvel.
I'm now looking this up right now. So Captain Marvel is confirmed for March 2019, so about a little under a year. I also didn't realize that we also get one of our favorite baddies, Ben Mendelsohn.
I know, wrote
this movie as well.
Back as the baddie for this one.
We have Lee Pace back as Ronan. As you said, it takes place in the 90s. Mm-hmm. We also will have Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, Jude Law as Walter
Mar-Vell.
Lawson, and Mar-Vell.
Yeah.
Kind of getting off track, but yeah.
Clark Craig. We got Clark Craig back alive.
There we go. As
in
Coulson.
the mainline thing, because apparently the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Defenders and the Inhumans are just sitting this out, I guess.
Yeah. Which, as you just mentioned, I feel like you need probably use somebody like Luke Cage in something like this.
Yeah, Luke Cage is the unbreakable man.
Yeah, so even Iron Fist, even though his show wasn't that great, could probably use him in this.
He could at least, with his punch, take out one of those minion people. Come on.
I'm not. That's a whole separate talk. I'm not a big fan of the Defenders just having nothing. They're in the universe, but they're just not helping out at all.
Jessica, she might not. She's pretty self-preservation-y.
Yep.
She might sit it out.
Yep.
I don't know. I can see her being like, "This is not my fight."
So we want to talk about hopes and dreams. My hope / dream is that we will get a Defenders appearance in this movie.
Did I at least like show them in New York doing like some street level stuff, helping out like the citizens?
If somebody like Thanos pops up out of nowhere, the Daredevil and Luke Cage, people like that, they're not just going to sit aside.
No.
If they're like, oh, the world's going to end, but I got this big case I got to work on.
Matt does some real reckless stuff in Daredevil for a blind guy. He's not going to sit it out.
Yeah, 100%. So that's my big hope, is that we get a Defenders appearance at some point, even if it's just for like a second, a minute. We're talking about who maybe saves the day. My big wild card pick is going to end up being the Guardians. I think that the Guardians, based on the trailers, this is only a merely barely educated opinion. I think the Guardians of Thor are going to show up towards the end.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be the big saviors. But we also have Gamora apparently maybe talking to Iron Man, where he says like, "Oh, what's his name?" And then obviously it's Thanos. Yeah. You don't know if she's directly talking to him though.
Might be some editing.
So
she's telling Thor, but they edited it.
My theory is my theory is that they're going to show up towards the end and maybe save the day, maybe push Thanos back one little bit, because we're the main big battle we've seen has been in New York, because we see Spider-Man like flying through all the debris up in the air and stuff in Wakanda. You only have 2 hours and 20 minutes long, so there's only so much you can cover. Unless it's something like Game of Thrones Season 7 where they're just jumping. Which, I mean, like you said, you only have 2 hours and 20 minutes, so you got to do with what you can work with.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my wild card pick. I'm not really quite sure on what yours is, that the Guardians are going to end up saving the day. The Guardians are the ones who have the most experience with Thanos as well. Obviously, Gamora is basically like is his daughter, essentially. And I love like that.
And Nebula, who's in this movie, also a daughter, and like really hates Thanos more than anybody. Another
pick for me is Nebula dying in this. I can't see any reason for her to continue after this.
Right.
So, yeah, it's that's talk about consequences. You have to have a lot of small characters like that die. I don't see somebody like Wanda Maximoff dying. I don't see characters that are small enough where they can still do a lot. I don't see Wanda Maximoff dying. I don't at all see Spider-Man or Black Panther dying at all, especially for box office purposes. They're not getting rid of Black Panther anytime soon. No. So
he's got some real thick plot armor after that box office.
As I also brought up to you, I believe last week, maybe it was on the podcast or in person, Sebastian Stan is officially credited as Bucky Barnes / White Wolf. Okay. So the Winter Soldier is officially dead.
Good.
Which is, I'm glad that storyline is over with. I liked it a lot, but I'm ready for the White Wolf saga, and I got a feeling
ready for Bucky to be a good guy.
I'm also preparing myself for the White Wolf to eventually turn into Captain America, but I guess we will see.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting when it's like Captain America 4, and he's like Captain America.
I'd be down for that. I like Sebastian Stan a lot. I like that whole little comic, that strand of comics with both Bucky, and then we eventually got Falcon as Captain America. So I guess we'll see.
Yeah. It's a cool like visual too, with him in the cap suit with the Falcon wings.
Yeah,
it's pretty dope.
And I'd be down with a vibranium armed White Wolf / Captain America holding a vibranium shield. That's like the unstoppable. He has
a shield on one arm, vibranium arm. He's like unstoppable.
Yeah. So this is the point of the show
where we just shoot the shit like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if this? Happened?
This is the point of the show where like, we just start rambling about nonsense. Man. So
I do think. Nope, never mind. I don't think anything more.
So that's kind of like our quick little preview. We will be obviously back next week discussing the full non-spoiler and spoiler review of Infinity War. It's fucking crazy to say that it comes out next week, which is awesome. We are also going to be doing a video on YouTube doing a recap / explanation of where all the Infinity Stones are. So definitely make sure you jump on Wicked Everything to subscribe, because we're still in that pursuit of 150, as well as give us some views. We basically have content coming out every single day.
Pretty much. It's a pretty constant stream. We're really excited about it all. I'm really excited that we got to do a video podcast. I think people will hopefully like this setup. Obviously, the camera's a little weird with the webcam setup, but what do you want from us, guys?
I want my grossness blurred out anyway, so that's...
Right, it's really for our benefit, not for you guys, obviously.
I will give you props, Brian. Everything that could have went wrong with this podcast went wrong.
It's usually how it is. I like curse. I honestly think there is a black cloud over me when it comes to technology. Yes. As long as when I hit stop recording, it stops recording, though. All can be forgiven.
We are going to wait and find out to make sure that Brian actually hit record this time. Either that...
It says the little timer.
Okay, good.
Got it.
But we are also waiting for those hackers to come back and erase more content out of us. So definitely make sure you jump on the YouTube page. We can get everything. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you also... If you're listening to this as a one-off for some weird reason, make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes. Make sure you Venmo me any money possible. I will open the Venmo to all anybody who wants to donate.
Right.
As we are on the pursuit of 150 subscribes, I'm also on the pursuit of a PlayStation Pro, and I'm not going to pay for it like a regular person.
He wants to play God of War, not regular. He wants to play it enhanced.
I want to be able to see like the bulge in Kratos' little loincloth. So this is the point. We're getting a little off track. So love you guys. We will see you next week
so much for watching.
Avengers Infinity War, baby. Let's go.
I can't believe it's here. It's so close.